Hey guys, welcome back. We're your hosts, Mel.
And Uma.
On this week's after show, we wrap up What Comes After Love.
Oh my God, this show tried to kill me by secondhand embarrassment. I could not deal with episode 3.
Yes, a lot happened.
So much. I think I died and passed out just from cringing so much.
Yeah.
So episode 3 opens up with Junko jumping in front of Hong's car where we left off after his first press day. He hasn't seen her in 5 years. He goes upstairs, regrets it, runs back because he definitely needs to talk to her, right? She actually stops for him. They have a conversation and he pretty much tells her like there's so much that he regrets, and he kind of goes into their past, and she just shuts it down really quickly and says, hey, I'm getting married. You don't need to say all of that. And just ends the conversation there.
Yeah. I was thinking the whole time, it's like, why did you let him in the car? Just to shut him down. It's like, girl, you know you still love that man.
I don't think she could help it. She kind of wanted to see, and then,
Yeah, I'm like, you love you some Junko.
She does, but she doesn't want to admit it just yet.
Yeah.
Right? And then it kind of like takes us back into flashbacks. So now we are introduced to her sister and to Min-jun.
Yes.
Is that how you say his name?
Yes, and we got a little bit of a backstory with him. We find out that he's a family friend who's also a doctor. Can I just say, I guess, the perfect rebound? I understand why she did. It was like she came back. He picked her up from the airport with her sister.
Which was creepy all of a sudden because you could tell that she wasn't expecting to see him there at all. But from that moment, I was like, oh, I don't like this guy. It's one-sided love. He's probably loved her his whole life. And I'm here we go again.
Yeah. And he was there, and she was like, why not? My family loves you. They know you. You're a doctor. Like I said, perfect rebound.
I know. So now we know that he's her fiance.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to get married. He's the one that's holding on for dear life, setting up all the dress appointments and the stores.
Yeah.
She's completely clocked out.
I want to know why he was at the dress fittings.
He was picking out a suit too.
Yeah, I guess they don't believe in that superstitious.
No.
Stuff,
I think we kind of figured that out.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of that too, isn't it weird? This is getting ahead of ourselves, but we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
But
we also get introduced to Junko's ex. She is the most unhinged fucking person. Like, the amount of secondhand embarrassment I was getting, it was crazy.
I damn near passed out, okay? Because I don't care. I'd rather sit bare-assed on a hot girl than ask a man to marry me. Are you insane?
But it goes back. They had a flashback 5 years ago. Remember, they were at that dinner or bar situation with all his coworkers or writers or whatever. And he steps out and she comes out after him. And she says, it never took you that long to get over me. And then in the same breath proceeds to say, I think we should get back together.
If you miss her so much, let me help you get over her. And I'm like, girl, if you don't have some type of self-respect for yourself, this man is literally mourning. And he clearly said in that moment, we haven't broken up yet. He's fully in denial. It's been a month.
And that's the thing with her. I think that's what annoys me about her. It's like she knows how deeply this man loves Benny. You know what I mean? And she still's like, I don't care though.
I think she became obsessed when she saw that she dumped him. He moved on with his life. No big deal. Meets Hong, Benny, and is obsessed with her, breaks up with her, and can't seem to pick himself back up.
Yeah.
I think she's fully obsessed now. I don't even think she genuinely loves him. It's just, why didn't he love me that hard?
Yeah.
Why did he let me go so easily? And now we find out she spent 5 years hoping that he's going to fall back in love with her.
Yeah. When she said that to him, I was like, I didn't come here for a work trip. I actually came back to bring you back with me.
And the fact that when she showed up and she was like, can you at least pretend you're happy to see me?
Oh, and that's the thing. Junko literally gives her nothing.
Zero.
Literally nothing. Like he says a few words and you can just tell that he's literally consumed with Benny and just thinking about her and just trying to figure out how he's going to get back. And here she goes, always popping up. And it's just like
unwanted,
get
unannounced.
Yeah.
Just making everybody feel awkward.
Yeah. And then how intense was it when he heard that knock on the door?
I thought it was going to be Benny.
I knew it wasn't going to be Benny, and that's why I was already cringing. I was already cringing because I knew it wasn't going to be Benny. I was like, please, Kana, let it not be you, please. And it was. And then that awkward hug that she goes in
The way she grabbed him around his
waist. It
waist.
was like a child hugging their parent.
Marry me.
Yeah.
Junko, marry me.
And he said, sorry.
I would die. I would pray that the ground just opens up and swallows me whole, because that's the part where I was like, ew. Like, I physically had to kind of pause for a second and turn away from the screen because I was that embarrassed. I was like, this is something I would never do. Like,
yeah. But you know what's funny? Literally earlier that night, remember, she was like, oh, where are you going? And she said, oh, I'm going to go to the bar, whatever. He was like, okay, I'm going
gotta
home.
go.
I'm going
I was drinking by himself upstairs.
Yeah.
Did you see himself like pouring a
So
shot?
the fact that he didn't even say, okay, let me go with you.
No,
like,
he
this
did
man
not.
is so uninterested. And then only for you to show up when you're literally wasted. And
But
knock
that's
on
the
his
thing.
door.
I don't even think she was wasted. It didn't even seem that it was that much, because the man was still drinking his first drink.
Well, that's what she said when she apologized. She said it was because she was under the influence.
She's lying.
Yeah.
She's just embarrassed. She didn't know how to live. And I was like, instead of calling him the next day and saying, hey, back to our regularly scheduled program, I would have booked my flight back to Japan and got the fuck up out of there, because I literally just asked the man to marry me, and he just kindly pushed me away and said, I'm sorry.
This man's giving you nothing, and then you jump to marry me. That's what I'm saying. It's like she's just so unhinged. It's like he's literally giving you nothing, and you're still just
that whole
forcing
episode
yourself
made me
on
kind
him.
of like,
Uneasy.
nauseous, because she knows he's hung up on Benny, but she's fighting against everything to be like, no, love me, please, pick me, choose me, whatever. And then Min-jun is not any better, because did you see that awkward after the dress fitting, right? When they were looking at dresses, and she was so like just tapped out, and she was getting super emotional because she remembers the flashback of her trying on a wedding dress for Junko, and it was like she was visibly getting upset, and even her best friend
cried in that dressing room.
Exactly,
She
her
couldn't
friend
even
was
step
like,
out.
you just look like you were really upset. Like, did you hate the dresses?
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I just wasn't feeling it. And then Min-jun jumps up and he's like, you know what? I'll find us some more stores. I wasn't feeling that store either.
Yeah.
And then her friend's like, well, I'm going to take her for tonight because we should have a girls' night. Because clearly she sees something's going on with her friend.
Yeah.
And Min-jun was like, fine, even though he was the one who suggested that they go get something, delicious to eat. And her friend's like, actually, I'm gonna take her away. She gets some drinks with her girlfriend. They want to go to a second stop. Ends up being where Min-jun is.
Yeah.
Min-jun. And her friend's like, I gotta go. She kind of read the room and she's like, let them be alone. Her friend dips and he sits there. He knows something's off with her. She now tries to tell him something. She tries to be honest with her feelings, and he shoves a chicken skewer in her mouth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear it. And I thought he was going to be like, if I don't have to hear it, I can just forget about it.
Let's be honest. He knew. Like,
He knew.
I don't think she even had to say the words. He knew exactly what it was and what was.
And he literally said, he was like, you know what? Don't speak now because feelings change. Don't fucking tell me you didn't know exactly what she was going to say and tell you that she's had doubts and maybe this is not right for her. Like, he literally shut her up and then said, I know what you're about to say, but like, maybe you'll change your mind. Like, it's feelings change, people change. You might not feel this way, but clearly she does because she's about to speak. Yeah. But again, what I don't like about his ex and her current fiance is they know exactly what's up.
They do.
Like, they know 100% what's going on. And one thing that really bothered me, and I was like, you're such a fucking hypocrite, was when Kana was like, oh, you know what really makes me sad? It's when I pity people that live in their memories and can't get over their past. And I'm like, bitch, isn't that what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
She can't get over her ex. And you're telling him he's pitiful for thinking about his memories.
And what she understands, like, he doesn't want it to be the past. Like, he's currently trying to win her back.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
I was like, you're a dum-dum. But both of them are annoying me. They have no self-respect.
Yeah.
Clearly, how can you hold on to somebody that you fully can see is in love with someone else?
That's just, she's being selfish. And it's became more of like a challenge of like, let me see if I can win him back. There's nothing to win because I don't even think he actually had even deep feelings for her, it seems like. You know what I mean? Even when they were together, I don't see that they had this deep love or, you know what I mean? I don't see that.
And is it a win if the person gives in or gives up on the person that they love and they settle for you? Is that really a win?
Yeah.
Sick.
At this point, she doesn't really care. In episode 3, we also kind of started to see the breakdown of their relationship a little bit more.
Yeah.
The scene where she was running and a bunch of weirdos started chasing her and she sprained her ankle. And then she tried to call him when she was in the hospital.
She's banging his phone.
Yeah. And it made me think, I'm like, I feel like a lot of their issues could have been resolved if they just texted. Like
you know what?
Because you know he's busy. He's at work. Like, obviously, he saw the phone call, but he's like, oh, I'm busy, whatever. But if she had sent a text, maybe.
But also, though, you know that there's nobody in this country. She only has you. I think he was being a little distant on purpose, or he didn't take her seriously enough, because I'm sorry, but if your girlfriend or your boyfriend is banging your phone and you're not getting a text, should that actually not make you more worried and call them back? Actually, because they don't naturally call you like that every day unless it's a fucking emergency.
But was she banging though?
She was banging.
She called once.
She called when she was at the police station.
Yeah,
and she couldn't get a hold of him. Then his dad came to pick her up and took her to the hospital.
You know, the thing is, I think the reason
and I think at some point she did text him because he came into that apartment fully knowing what the fuck went down. He wasn't surprised to see the crutches or her foot broken.
And I think the reason why he didn't take her call seriously is because I think she's been very clingy. So I didn't think he thought that, oh, I think she just wants to talk to me. Because in that scene, remember when he was working and she was like, oh, I'll just wait till you get off. So I think a part of him too was feeling kind of suffocated with her.
True.
Like she was being too much. So I think when he started seeing those calls, he probably was like, oh, it's just Benny being Benny. She just probably just wants my attention or wants to have a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
totally makes sense.
Yeah. But also it did piss me off when he walked into that apartment. She's in the dark with a cast and he wasn't moved at all. At all. That was weird to me. It's like, how are you so nonchalant? You see a girl sitting in the dark with a cast on, and it was like...
And he gives her that little light hug, just assuming that things will work out, and she's just emotional. And all these times, I never noticed once him say, I'm sorry. He always just explained it away.
And that's why she said, she's like, that's why when she had that breakdown, she said, you can't even say sorry. You can't even apologize.
Right.
You know, and I think that was their biggest issue, was just, you know, he would just never take an accountability, you know, always saying, oh, but you know this, you know that.
I have to work. I'm doing this. I mean, both of them were kind of at fault because I thought she was very like unreasonable when she was like, you work too much. Quit your job for me. How are you guys going to survive?
Quit all your jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Not just one or cut back.
Yeah.
Quit all. And he's like, I kind of need it to live.
Yeah.
Pay for school.
Yeah.
You know, just genuinely being an adult. Kind of need a job.
Yeah. It was, yeah, we started to see that. And like I said, I see both sides. That's the thing. I really do see both sides of it.
You know what? I keep going back and forth because here's another thing though. The wedding. Why did he have to ditch her? I know you wanted that job so bad. It was a great opportunity. But at the same time, you could have told that man, I will have to start tomorrow, or let me go make an appearance, see the surprise that she has, come back and work through the night. Just one time, I understand what Benny was trying to say. Just one time did he put her first.
Yes. And again, even with the wedding situation, he could have texted her. And that's what she said. She's like, why didn't you just tell me? Just tell me a quick text message saying, hey, babe, this came up. This, this is the opportunity I've been waiting for. Like, that's what she was mad about. It was like, he just not even caring at all. Like, you couldn't even shoot me a quick text.
He sucks at communication.
Yeah. And then it was also funny in episode 4 when he tried to be cute and he was standing there where she runs and she just ran right past him. And I was like, why didn't you stop her? Like, clearly you're there for a reason. It was weird. Like, why didn't he stop her?
I know.
Like, clearly you're waiting there for a minute, you know?
She knows it. She was caught off guard. I mean, if I was her, I wouldn't stop either because I need time to process stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you just appear out of nowhere and she's supposed to stop.
Yeah.
Like, hey, thanks for tracking me down.
Literally.
You're a little stalker. You figure out, like, what lake I'm running around, my neighborhood, everything.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, like, episode 3, 4, and 5 basically showed us exactly how the relationship deteriorated. And I'm glad that they, you know, at the end of the day, held themselves accountable to everything that went down, because the more I saw the flashbacks, the more I'm like, okay, you're doing a little bit too much, Benny, because I was like, all of this could be solved if you just made some friends.
Literally.
If you had a life outside of him,
that's what
you wouldn't be this pressed.
I was thinking that. I'm like, I think Benny needs another job. like I think she has too much time on her hands.
Did she even have a job outside of the restaurant?
Yeah, that's all she had. That's why I said, I'm like, I think she needs another job, because you have too much free time on your hands. And that's why I say I kind of understand where he was coming from. It's like you have no hobbies. You don't have, like, I get you don't have friends.
And her friend left.
And you were there for 5 years. You didn't make a single friend.
No, she wasn't there for 5 years.
At that point?
No, at that point she wasn't.
Okay,
I don't even think she was in, like, I can't, you see, this is another gripe that I have. It's like, I couldn't even tell how long their relationship was. It seemed like maybe it was like roughly 1 year, because you got to see like the seasons change a little bit.
Yeah.
But her friend left her. Junko's all she has. She only has that one restaurant job.
Yeah.
She gave up not going to school, because I think at that point when she could have went, she found out like her family was having financial issues. So she lied to her sister and she's like, I didn't get into grad school.
Yeah.
But the whole time I'm just like, girl, get some girlfriends.
Get some
Have a
girlfriends,
life.
get a hobby. Like I said,
Do
get
some
another
shit.
job if you must. Like, just, I understand why he was getting annoyed, because it was like, I get it, you have no one here, but he also has things to do. You know what I mean? So,
and he's trying hard, and he's working towards, you know, you guys both having a better life together.
Yeah.
But they did find themselves, and he was just like, I do regret, like, not seeing how lonely she was. Yeah. And at some point she also says, like, you know, maybe I complained a little bit too much, but they should have just communicated a little bit better. But they're young and dumb and in love.
And that's why I'll give her bail, that this was her first love. They were very young. So I get it, the extra clinginess, all of that.
Everything
I get
just
it.
feels more intense at that time.
Yeah. So, but can we talk about Min-jun showing up the book signing? I was like, who does he think he is? And then having this little face-off with Junko in English, I died. Like the way I laughed, like, because he really thought he ate. That was the crazy. Like, he gave it to him. He really thought.
What did he say? He was like, I think you're disgusting or something. And I was like, stop, boy, stop. You're disgusting, actually.
And then Junko just calmly saying, oh, it's nothing happened between us right now. It's a misunderstanding. And the way he said, misunderstanding. Like, it was just so funny. It's like, it was hilarious. It was supposed to be, but it was so funny.
But you know what? That scene left me angry, too, because I was like, Min-jun, if you just take a moment and listen to the words that you're saying, which is, she's my fiance. I'm going to propose to her, which I have to digress for 1 second, but she's already your fiance. I don't understand this. Were they just together that naturally they knew they were going to get married? Because why didn't you propose? Like, aren't you supposed to propose first and then plan the wedding?
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
I didn't get that. Maybe it's just, you know, hey, we've been together. Like, I don't have to officially propose until they get closer, but they know they're in agreement to get married. I don't know. It's very weird. But anyways, he was like, she's my fiance. Leave her alone. Blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, is she yours though? Because if you have to tell somebody to leave my fiance alone, they're not yours. You know clearly. She's going to leave this man at the first, like, she's going to leave you for him, the first opportunity that she gets. But no, I guess he just wanted to flex his English.
Exactly. It goes back to him knowing she doesn't have those deep feelings that she doesn't. She's settling. And it's obvious.
Everything about her mannerisms, like the way she talks to him. Yeah. She's settling.
I knew from episode 1, the first time I see them together, I think they were at her parents' house for dinner. I knew. I'm like, she doesn't really like this guy.
Listen.
Because you see the difference when she's with Junko. She's so happy and vibrant and laughing and just smiling. And with him, it was like just stone cold, no emotions, nothing. You know what I mean? So tell me you did not pick up on that.
He
that this
knew
woman
the
does not
entire
like you.
time. But one thing that I was like, no, Benny, you have gone too far, is when she finally told him, I can't marry you just because I'm scared to be alone. And then he was like, why, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, listen, he was like, would it have made a difference if we were dating before you went to Japan?
Oh my God,
and
that was my part.
And she was like, if we were dating before I went to Japan, or if we were married with 3 kids, my heart would drop every time I saw. It's always, you know, basically she was like, you don't live here. You don't go here.
Let's wrap this up. Yeah.
I don't know how else to be more honest. Like, you and I both know what it is. Why are you acting like if you would have confessed your feelings for me before I moved to Japan, I would have met this man and he would have been everything to me just like he is now. So no, you've never had a chance.
Yeah. Another key point
I was like,
for me,
she's a savage.
Yeah. Another key point for me was when they had that little birthday dinner for him at the office. And she was like, can I ask you a question? And he's like, sure. And she said, through all the things that they went through, did your love ever change? And when he said no, I think that was kind of like a moment of like, wow, for her. It's like, okay, so the love never changed, even though, you know.
He still loves me very much, just like I love him. Because I think now she's finally coming to terms with the whole time, the whole series, she's trying to avoid him and he's trying to find her and kind of like fix and talk and do what they need to do. But I knew she was starting to like subconsciously maybe like come around to, you know, because she got him the favorite like cake that he liked for the work dinner. So it's like she was showing ways to him as well that like, I still think about you and I remember everything about you.
Yes. And also with the proposal, I think a key moment for her was when he said, I'll never leave you alone. And then she just started bawling. She knew that he spoke to Junko. And I think that really kind of solidified for her. It's like, you got to go. Yeah.
Seriously, all of this could have just been avoided if Junko just expressed his feelings from the get-go, like thoroughly, all the time. Every time she cried and every time we saw a fight, he should have just been like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, because he clearly loved her. I mean, these people didn't betray each other. Yeah. They didn't hurt each other, you know, on purpose or do something that they can never come back from.
Yeah. It's not like he cheated on her or anything. And like I said, their whole thing was just miscommunication. There was lack of communication. It wasn't a lack of love, right? It was just, there was no communication.
You know, the saddest fight for me was the final one of the final fights that they had when she couldn't even speak in Japanese anymore. And she was literally crying and yelling in Korean. And I was like, and he's just looking at her face. Like he doesn't understand a word she's saying, but he can see the pain that she's in. That made me cry. I was like, yeah, she's done.
And then the end of episode 5, she's going to meet him with the flowers, walks into that bar, and then they pan and you see Kana. And I just screamed, why is she there? Like, I was so pissed.
And that look on her face, like,
yeah,
when she ran away, I was like, oh, she's never going to tell him. She's never going to tell him that Benny was just standing right there.
Thank God she did.
I know.
Yeah.
When we
and the way he just
found
got
herself
up,
finally, though.
The way he just got up and ran after her.
She came to her senses. Like, I was like, good for you. You have finally accepted it.
Yeah, I think that's when she finally gave up. Yeah, I think that's when she
and then she was like, you got to go because she was right there. I thought that was very big of her.
Yeah.
And she
it's about time.
really quickly.
Well, it's about time.
She should have thought like that before she embarrassed herself with that proposal.
Yeah. Because it's always been that. He's never liked you like that. Yeah. I wish he could have gave up sooner.
You know? But overall, though, what do you think? Like, did you enjoy the show? Did it go the way that you wanted it to go?
Oh, yes. Especially the way it ended of him running with her, and they just ran together, and then they stopped, and then they just basically spoke about everything, and they both took accountability. And that's what I loved about this show so much. It was really realistic.
Yeah.
You know, that this really happens in relationships, and some great relationships do break down simply because of miscommunication or lack thereof. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed it. It was raw. The emotions were there, and it was realistic, and I loved it. And I give it a 10 out of 10. And it ended the way I wanted to. They ended up together. I think I would have been heartbroken if they didn't.
Oh, I would have fought someone.
Yeah. They went through all of that just for her to.
I would have cursed the writers. I'm like, how dare you do this to me? Because the music. You know, the funny thing is, it wasn't even like a lot of like monologues or like heavy dialogue. I think the actors did such a great job.
The chemistry was crazy. Yeah. The way they just looked at each other, like without saying a word, I felt
the longing.
Everything. Yeah.
The longing and the sadness, and when they're talking and the way that scene at the end before she walked away, just where they took accountability. They're at the restaurant where he's like, "Can we meet up?" And she's like, "Sure, whatever." They were just apologizing to each other. Why was I bawling? Their eyes weren't even like watering. It was just, I was just so relieved that they finally expressed everything to each other. Like, I was crying before they started crying.
Me too. Yeah.
I was like, and the music was so good.
Yes. First of all, Junko forever had tears in his eyes. It felt like you could just feel the emotions. Like with both of them, just the way they looked at each other. I'm like, the chemistry was through the roof. Like, it was undeniable, and I loved it.
But the funny thing is, I'm like, it could have used maybe one more episode, because
why?
Did Min-jun just accepted it?
Yeah, it kind of showed them him and kind of just living their lives. I guess that's how they wrapped it up.
Basically, right? Yeah. And then we see these two
running together,
so fucking happy.
Yeah.
Cherry blossoms floating in the air.
That's true, because I want to know, like, did he move to Korea?
Are they in Japan?
Yeah.
Are they in Korea? How did her parents deal with the sudden shift of, I was going to marry this guy, but now I want this one?
Yeah.
Her mom, she's problematic. She straight up said, don't marry for love, marry a good person. Basically, like, think of like a reliable, stable partner, because her mom settled. She knew her husband was always in love with that other lady in Japan. Yeah. So she kind of wanted her daughter to be like her and be like, just because she didn't get a great love and marry the man that she loved. She was
problematic. Yeah.
She's very problematic. So I was like, I kind of wanted to see how she would react to.
And the father also is like, oh my God, this writer that we've been working with.
This book is about you. Yeah. I kind of wanted to see all of that.
That would have been cute to see.
That's my only gripe with this show. But other than that, it was very beautiful. It was tender. It was such a realistic love story. It wasn't over the top. It was moving in like the best way possible.
Yes.
But I felt like it was just a tiny bit too short. I'm obsessed with Kentaro Sakaguchi now.
Yeah. Like, he is so cute.
So
I cannot
adorable.
wait to see him in something else.
Those dimples.
Yeah.
You know what? Bring back regular teeth. His smile was so cute. I'm so tired of those perfect veneered teeth.
Yeah.
He had the most adorable mouth. And I'm just like,
he's just a natural, handsome kind of guy. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Just very natural, very,
No, 10/10 for me. I love the show. It was so warm. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show for today. If you guys enjoyed What Comes After Love, please like, rate, and review, and let us know what you think in the comments.
Bye.